Hello and welcome back to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel, your source for all things Everton. My name is Thomas, joined by Cal Brannan today on the channel to react to the new signing of Amadou Onana from Lille in Ligue 1. It seems like this move kind of wasn't on the radar for a very long time. West Ham then go in for him, but all of a sudden he wants to come to Everton instead, which has caused some hilarity on Twitter. It's been quite funny to see over the past couple of weeks, but the deal is now announced. It seems like a 5-year contract, a fee of around 30 million with add-ons and a sell-on fee. So we're going to start off with a disclaimer here that we don't know, myself and Cal don't know too much about Onana. We know that he's had, a decent breakout season at Lille. 11 starts last season is interesting, of course. There has been talk on Twitter that I've seen that maybe people expect him to have another year in Ligue 1 before selling him on for a higher profit. But the club have clearly acted, seen the potential that he has, and that who knows if he has another season to really cement himself on that Lille side, how much could that fee come next summer? Maybe bigger clubs come in from clubs with better European football. So the club have acted, but Cal, just immediately, what's your reaction to the signing?
I'm really excited for it. 20-year-old midfielder getting a lot of praise. Someone from ESPN, I'm gonna have to pull up his name here very quickly. I think it's Julian something, said he plays like Paul Pogba or Aurelien Tchouameni. So that's someone who watches Liga and religiously. There's a lot of things saying when he started to play, he really got into things. And, even if you just look at his defensive numbers, it looks like, I said this to was a joke off camera, it looks like we've going to sign Idrissa Gueye and then instantly sign Idrissa Gueye's replacement as well. But like I said, I think this lad's, right now he's raw, he's very defensively talented, but it looks like the attacking threat is there, and that's hopefully something he can develop with us. But it's a promising sign under the new director of football that we are going for these young, really exciting midfielders, already a Belgian international. So, yeah, I think he has a bright future, and hopefully most of that future is with us.
Yeah, as he said there, it looks like we are signing the Idrissa Gueye replacement straight away as we are signing Idrissa Gueye. But I think that makes sense as well because it's going to give him time to bed in. As you mentioned, he is only 20, he's very young. Not even had a full season in Liga and probably 11 starts. They only signed him a year ago. Seems like he is going to have to kind of take his time to get into it. Fans shouldn't expect nothing. Fans shouldn't expect something too quickly. And that sign of Idrissa Gueye is going to give him time to bed in. It's going to give him time to settle. Of course, both coming from the French league, both born in Senegal. Of course, he is a Belgian international, but both Senegalese by birth. So it will be very interesting to see how he does settle in. As you mentioned there, I've seen those links with Paul Pogba kind of going forwards as well. I think he's got a lot more defensive nous than a lot of our midfield has at the moment, and he can just sit in front of the defence. But it will be interesting to see eventually how Lampard does go on to use him. There was a big cry out for a midfielder of his ability, definitely, and it seemed like we kind of were getting it when we were signing Idrissa Gueye. I'm not sure anyone really expected this follow-up straight away, but would you agree that this is probably one of the most important positions that we did have to fulfil, and now it looks like we've got this kind of double signing straight away?
I think it's the most important. I think originally a lot of us sat and thought, well, a Richarlison placement would be what we wanted first. But at the same time, I think, I'm not the biggest fan of players like Andros Townsend and stuff. He would have been a backup. I don't think the exact Richarlison replacement was there. He got 15 goal contributions last season, which goes, I think it went very unnoticed besides from teams like Spurs who actually wanted him, I think it's one of those, but yeah, midfield. I can't count how many games it lost us last season. How poor our midfield was. Doucouré is a good player on his day. He's got a lot of stamina, but he's got a lot of mistakes in him. Andre Gomez hasn't been the same since that injury. Alex Iwobi, I think, has fulfilled the role he's been given very well. And I think Alex Iwobi will be in that midfield three with. I think it will be Onana, Gueye, and probably him. So I think it will be. So, I think it'll be one of those where Onana's going to have a lot of support around him. Like you said, being Senegalese, he'll have instantly that link with Idrissa Gueye. Idrissa Gueye's going to, I can imagine, mentor him. And, if you want a defensive midfielder to mentor you, not a bad shout to have. I think it's one of those where it's smart. It's one of those where Onana might not have the best first season, but it might be one where the season after, maybe even the season after that, we get a real gem, Think about it, in 2-3 years' time, he's still only going to be 22, 23 years old. I think he turns 21 soon, so 23 years old still in 2 years' time. And hopefully the club does offer him that time to develop and gives him the game time where he can develop. And I can see, him being given more of an attacking prowess with someone like Idrissa Gueye next to him to sit in front of the defence. So I think the position the club is at right now, with what a low side of the table to a mid-table team, it's going to allow him that time to develop. And I think he's already got that defensive nous under him. This is in limited games, so it's hard to get a true judgment. But I think if I've done the maths right, he had 7 defensive actions per game. Tackles, interceptions, blocks, clearances. That's ridiculous. I think it's 8 actually. If I've done, yeah, it's 8. So I think that's more than our entire midfield combined. I think it'll be close to that. So it's one of those where I expect the defensive numbers to drop naturally. I expect them to drop because they're ridiculous. But you may also see the attacking numbers rise. I think it's a very exciting signing. It's a lot of money, but at the same time, I'd rather us spend the money on this than, what we used to spend the money on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It seems like the fans have been crying out for a player, with a slightly smaller profile, got a lot of potential. That's where we want the money spent, not on kind of the aging squad that we've built in the past few years. And as I mentioned before, it will be interesting to see how he does develop. He probably won't get into the team straight away, and that's probably a good thing for him as well, being so young. But clearly, Lampard was a massive pulling factor. He wanted to come to Everton. West Ham had matched our offer. They'd offered him a contract. He decided not to go there, despite the fact they have European football. So it's always very good to see a player who really desires to come to the club. They've got a lot of motivation to play for us, and that is really it's going to be good to see in the next couple of years how he does develop. But that pretty much brings me to the end of my thoughts. Not sure if you've got anything else you want to add.
Yeah, I think it's one of those where I think this is the type of player it's hard to judge him off in his first season. I kind of hinted that earlier. It's very hard, obviously if he has a few stinkers and stuff, as I said, look how young he is. I can imagine in the actual role of defensive midfield, Alan and why am I forgetting names? Alan and Adrissage will be above him. I think he will be one of those where he plays in the cup games, he plays in an injury, unless he just comes in and absolutely smashes it from the start, then he'll probably play from the start. Frank's not afraid to play the academy. I also think you will see players like Warrington and other players who impress, get chances in the cup games in the first team. So I think it's going to be one of those where he's going to get some playing time. Don't think he'll get a lot, but he's one of those where I think we'll get a real judge of his character in the upcoming seasons, not this one.
Yeah, definitely. Very well said. But thank you very much for watching. Let us know in the comments down below what your thoughts are on the signing. A very exciting one. Hopefully he can develop, as we mentioned there, into a bright young star for the club. But thank you very much for watching, and join us next time on the Toffee Blues. Goodbye.